All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mack, PlayFest Football. Today I am going to take a look at same as cover 3 schemes. All right, so I'm going to tell you how we play some of our cover 3 deals, why we do it that way, why I think it's important that we do it that way, and why I choose for us on defense to do it that way. Make sure you check out some of our partners. GameStrat, sideline replay system we use at Bishop Kenny High School. I've been using them for the last 5 or 6 years. If you're looking for highly reliable, highly affordable, great customer service, make sure you check out GameStrat. Dome Headwear, it's the hat company we use with Bishop Kenny High School, PlayFest Football. I've used them about the last 10 or 11 years of my career. If you're looking for completely customizable, they have an online hat builder. You design your own hat, change the enclosures, snapback fitted, Velcro, your own logo, your style, change the color. All the panels can be different colors. You can set it up. It's unique. It's yours. Every hat has a story. Make sure you check out Dome. Baker Sporting Goods, all right. Company, we use sideline gear, coaches gear, our practice gear, our players gear, our uniforms are distributed from them. We have stores that we set up for teachers and fans. It's your one-stop shop for everything you need for your program. Check out Baker Sporting Goods. JustPlay, which is the playbook software that we use it for our installs, our game plan meetings, some team meetings. We do presentations using JustPlay. I use it for my Patreon site. Anytime I'm going to do a clinic, that is the software that I'm going to use because it's the best play drawing tool on the market. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. Get thousands of reps. Don't need a partner. Don't have to teach guys how to hold a bag, how to provide resistance. All you need is a player and your DifferenceUSA striking machine. Set it up in the weight room. Great for in-season, off-season. Work on the skills of striking. If you want to play violent, you've got to practice violent. So make sure you check out DifferenceUSA. All right, so most of you know that follow the channel. You know the last year or two we've been a 3-high safety team. We've been predominantly a tight front team playing our 3-high structures. We base out of a quarters coverage toolbox, split field coverage principles. So for us, it's very important that we can close the middle of the field. I think if you're playing in the 3-high world, all right, using the middle safety as a middle of the field defender at some point is something that you have to do. Otherwise, teams are going to realize that as a 3-high safety structure, if you're still a quarters team, they're still going to realize that it's middle of the field open, split field coverage principles, and they're going to attack you in the same manner. So showing the picture of having the middle safety in a position where he could be a middle of the field player and then using him as a middle of the field close player is something that I think you need to do. Now, as a quarters toolbox team, as a split field coverage team, that is where we start day one. That is where we spend the majority of our time in our teaching, in our pattern matches, in our pattern distribution. So when we play our cover 3 deals, all right, it's spot drop. It's not pattern match. We don't play rip-liz match. We don't play matching 3 concepts. We are more of a spot drop team because it is a minor for us, not a major. Now, I think the thing that happens to most coaches is we want to look at every scheme, every theory, everything that we can possibly do to provide answers for our team, and we want to do all of it. Okay, and what happens is that when you do that is you start to dabble in all these different things, and you never really truly get great at anything. You just try to get decent at a bunch of things. So for us, we have to know the why as coaches. Why are we doing this? Why do we need to do it a certain way? So for me, I'm always looking for why I would do things and why do I need to do them a certain way to be efficient with my football team, right? So for me, and the time that we have in the off season and 7-on-7 and all the things that we're doing, the time it takes us to teach our route distribution in split field coverage quarter toolbox stuff, the amount of time we have to spend playing 2 removed and then playing tight end flankers, playing single sides, playing 3-by-1 adjustments. All right, all of our time is really spent in what is the major for us, what is the bread and butter for us, what is the base for us. So with us spending all of our time doing that, when we go to 3D principles or cover 3 principles, all right, we can't be the same match concepts because I don't think I can teach it all, number 1. I don't know if our kids can learn it all, number 2. And I don't think we have the time to do it the way it needs to be done. Now, are there people out there that do it? Yes. Are there people out there that get it done? Yes. I feel like for me, my staff, my players, I don't think I could do a good enough job with our time and our teaching to get it all done the way we want it. So when we go to cover 3, it is simply a protection piece for our defense. It is a way for us to close the middle of the field. It is a way for us to challenge some different throws, all right, and I'll show you some of the ways that we do that. It's a way for us sometimes to kind of change up the leverage and the support and what we're doing versus certain structures. So for me, cover 3 is a protection piece. It's not part of of what we do in our base philosophy. It's not part of our bread and butter, all right? It's a protection piece to our quarters coverage and our split field, middle of the field open deals. All right, so for us, what we need to do is we need to be able to play different versions of 3D. All right, so using same as principles. So the offense, or on offense, we talk about it a lot, same as. Let's use same as principles and try and present different presentations. Okay, so, you know, guys talk about it all the time. I just saw an interview with one of the coordinator in the NFL that just got a job, and he's talking to the press, and he said, you know, we want to be simple in multiple presentations. We want simplicity, but we want diversity in presentation. So they want simplicity in scheme, but they want to do it by providing several different presentations and changing the looks, but they want the scheme itself to be rather simple, right? Same as teaching. So let's get the schemes that are same as teaching, but we can provide different pictures and give the other side of the ball something different to look at while we're playing very similar things. So for us, 3 ways that we do it. All right, the first one that we do, all right, for us is using double safety rotation, middle of the field, closed with our middle safety. All right, so when that happens is every time that we do this, we are trying to create, all right, for us, because it's a drop 8 scheme. Now remember, this is for the way we do it. All right, again, and everything I talk about on this channel, I talk to you guys, say this is how we do it. That doesn't mean it's how you need to do it. Doesn't mean it's how it needs to be done. Everybody needs to do it this way. This is what we do. When we play 3D, it is a drop 8 concept. All right, and we play it as a true drop 8. So when we play it as a drop 8, the reason we do so is if I always push the mic to where there is 3 strong, and I always treat that as flood theories, all right, or your whatever, however you want to, in Rip Liz match terms, if it's Mabel or Skate or whatever their adjustments are. Again, I'm not a Rip Liz guru, so I know what the terms are, but I don't know fully how they play all those deals. So for us, it's flooded out versions of the coverage, right? So if I'm always going to use the mic, and it's always going to be drop 8, and this is why we do it this way. Okay, so people are going to say, well, if cover 3 is always drop 8, you're only sending 3, there's no pass rush, do you do it from tight? How do you generate pass rush? How do you contain the quarterback? We have other answers that we look at, but for us in general, 3 deep is drop 8. So if I always use the mic as a strong side 3 hook dropper, that means to that side, I can get away with pushing and having a flat player, a curl player, and a hook player on the strong side. Okay? On the back side, away from that, wherever 3 is to the side that 3 does not release, now we're probably more of the curl flat, hook curl scenario, right? So again, what are we trying to do? There's 6 underneath zones that the offense can attack. Okay, so there's flats on each side, curls on each side, hooks on each side. Well, if we play 5 under 3 deep, we're trying to take away 5 of those. All right, and the 5 that we would take away would be flooded strong, hook curl flat, so that it is the underneath part of the coverage is secure. So if teams are throwing a lot of spacing routes, a lot of intermediate passing game, this is a good change-up for us because we're trying to put a defender in every underneath level that they are trying to throw, right? What's the deal in the passing game? We've got to get stretch. Horizontal, vertical, whatever it is, we've got to put somebody in a bind, high, low, east, west, north, south, however you want to look at it. All right, so, excuse me. So we flood it out to one side, so we have a true flat player, true curl player, true hook player, hook to curl, curl flat on the backside, but they really right now only have 2 routes they can get out weak side unless they bring somebody back. All right, and we will try and cut some of those routes and not let some of those routes get back if we can, depending on the depth and what the route is, right? But they've only got 2 routes they can get out there, so we really don't feel as much stress as a hook curl, curl flat player because they can't put 3 guys underneath 2 spaces. Okay, again, unless they bring somebody back. To the side where they can space us out and put 3 routes underneath. So when you're a split field coverage team, a lot of times, like for us in our quarters toolbox, technically based on the route distribution, we may only have 2 underneath the players. So if they go with spacing concepts with 3 players, so if they go somebody in the hook, somebody in the curl, somebody push to the flat, a lot of times in our base quarters deal, especially like our 2-read stuff, that underneath intermediate spacing game can drive us nuts because we don't have enough players underneath to cover it. So when we go to our drop 8, we're trying to get a flat curl hook player to the front side wherever the 3rd receiver is, and we're trying to flood that out, right? So this gives us the ability to play the middle safety and close the middle. Double safety rotation, which is actually good for us because it helps us with motion stuff, right? When you watch the Super Bowl and you talked about Eagles didn't have a plan for motion and return motion, and every time they spun, they got caught coming back. Well, a lot of times for us, when we get motion, we might double rotate. So now we don't get caught with return motion. Okay, so it's something that helps us in the motion game as well. So again, drop 8 theory, can't play it every down. It's not an every down deal for us. It's a change up. It's a protection piece. All right, so double safety rotation, middle safety is closing the middle. Corners are playing outside thirds. We usually teach our corners to midpoint 2 wide receivers because we're not a match team, so we will have seam integrity issues at certain times, right? Especially versus 2x2, 4 receivers, 4 verticals, things that we've got to think about, right? So our corners are 3rd players, so this would be more of a midpoint technique, all right? That doesn't have to worry about midpointing because he can just play the true 3rd because he really only has 1 true deep threat, okay? So that is one of the ways that we present that cover 3 theory. Another way that we present that theory is by playing old school Tampa 2 with an extra dropper, all right? So now, and we can do this 2 different ways. We can play it, depending on down and distance or formation, we can play it true old school cover 2 with the corners and we can jam funnel sink. Or if we want to present the look that we always play from in our quarters deal, we can trap the flat with our corners. So we can bait the throws, make it look like the throws are there, and then we can trap the flat. But the bottom line is now, that's the flat player, that's the flat player, that's the 3rd, that's the 3rd, that's the middle 3rd. So you still become a curl dropper. You still become a strong side 3 hook dropper. You are still a hook curl player, all right? And now your curl flat defender becomes that corner and how you got to teach it. It's a little bit different than the teaching of a curl flat safety, linebacker, or whoever that may be. But in general, all right, to that single side where we think we can only get 2 routes out, we now have that hook curl player, and we now have that curl flat player. Now, the key for us, and one of the things that I have to work extremely hard to stay diligent to the thought process of, we are trying to provide the same picture under there, okay, and the same picture back here. We're doing it with different rotations and we're doing it with different players, but the theory of it is flood the strong side, flat player, curl player, hook curl, curl flat player on the backside, 3 deep behind it. Okay, so it's the same as coverage. It's the same 5 under, 3 deep. No matter how we want to do it, it's the same 5 under, 3 deep. And we've got to talk to the strong side guys about flooding 3 receiver sides. We got to talk to the backside guys about hook curl, curl flat. And then we got to talk to the 3rd players about midpointing 2 vertical threats. We do have seam integrity issues the way we play it because we're not a match team, right? But the bottom line is we're trying to get to a scenario where, because of the time that we have to teach it, because it's a protection piece and not where we, all right, hang our hat on defense, we've got to keep as many similarities in there while presenting different pictures. So how do we present different pictures? The corners could be up and they could be pressed. We do play press man, so maybe that looks like man-to-man. The corners can be back, showing our normal base. All right, we can show our normal middle of the field open, split field deal, and then we've got to rotate to it, right? So different presentations, different looks. But at the end of the day, the same underneath principles, all right, with 5 under, 3 deep. Same underneath principles, just different players playing those roles. All right. The other thing we do is we play a combination of both. All right, so we play a combination of both, and we usually do it to the boundary. But we can do it either way if the game plan dictated that we needed to. All right, but we play a combination of both where we will play safety rotation to one side, trap corner to the other. All right, so now we will play, usually to the field side, we will play safety rotation to the field side or the passing strength, trap the corner away from the field side or the passing strength. All right, and now again, flat player, curl player, hook player, hook curl, curl flat. There's your 3D. So now the safety is the deep half player or the third player there. You're in like a 3. To this side, it's like a 3 cloud, but to this side, it's a safety rotation. All right, so a 3 sky or however you want to look at that. So now it's a combination of both. It's clouded to one side, sky to the other. This is usually the field side. This is usually where there's more room. This is usually the boundary side. Okay. Now again, if the game plan dictated that we wanted to, for some reason, cloud the field, they're doing things with throws or leverage or whatever reason we want to take away, maybe bubbles, maybe nows. You could cloud the field. If we clouded the field, it's the same thing. So it's the same pieces. If we clouded the field, now it's trap, third, curl, hook, middle third, all right, and this becomes the sky side that way, okay? So again, underneath it's the same picture. It's the same flooded coverage to the 3 receiver side. It's a flat player, curl player, hook player to the passing strength, okay? To the back side, it is now safety rotation. So this side is what you would consider sky rotation. This side is what you would consider cloud. All right, so it's 3 cloud to this side, but it's 3 sky for us, our terminology. Again, it's not 3, it's not 6, it's not, that's just the way we call things. All right, so sky is safety support, cloud is corner support. So we're 3 cloud to one side, 3 sky to the other. But again, the underneath picture is still the same. The over the top picture is still the same. So it's same as coverage from a different presentation. Okay, same as coverage from a different presentation. Now, the thing that we didn't do a ton of last year, all right, that we're going to try and do a little bit more this year, is possibly adding the middle safety into the rotations. So coming off of like some of our quarters deals, where we changed the leverage with our Sam linebacker, so now that we've changed the leverage with our Sam linebacker, now we're presenting those quarters deals. This would be middle safety down, weak side safety down, and now this would be the flat player. This would be the curl player. The mic is still the hook player. All right, and you're still the same on this side with hook curl, all right, and this would be curl flat. So now this side would be a sky theory. All right, this side would be a buzz theory. All right, so that would be more of a 3 buzz, backer to the flat, safety inside of backer. All right, however you want to look at it. We've called this ice at different times where we've inserted inside. So the safety inserts inside, so we've called this 3 ice. All right, but the bottom line is it's buzz concept, backer's the flat, coming off of our quarters alignment with different leverage of the Sam linebacker, right? Because leverage of the apex to me is a big deal in coverage, depending on how you play it. As soon as you start changing the leverage of the apex, that quarterback and that offensive coordinator can look at that and go, all right, when he's in there, it's 2 read. When he's out there, it's quarters or something else. So you've got to be able to change your protection pieces. So if our protection piece is a 3 deep and we want to do it from a quarters look, now we've got a buzz or insert inside of that, right? You could certainly do the same thing. You could go 3 buzz there and 3 cloud here, right? You can combine the coverages because it's the same pictures. So we could certainly go middle safety buzz there, but trap corner here, and now we've got the corner and both safeties responsible for deep thirds, corner up. So now we're 3 cloud here, but we're 3 buzz or 3 ice, however you want to look at it, on that side. Okay, but the bottom line is, again, the underneath part has to be the same. Why does it have to be the same? Because it is a protection piece for us. It's a change-up. It's not a world that we live in. So that underneath part has to be, because it's a spot drop deal for us, it's got to be same as teaching, same as principles, so that we understand when we do that, these are the areas we've got to protect on the field. This is how we need the spot drop. Once we spot drop, this is how we want to play off the quarterback. This is how we're not just going to stand here and cover grass. We're not going to necessarily match routes, but we're also not going to just cover grass. Okay, so flood the front side where you think the passing strength is, where they're getting 3 receivers out. If you're getting 4 strong, now you've got to push even more players over there. All right, but it's a 5 underneath, 3 deep deal that can be played in various ways so that it's a protection piece for us, but we can provide same as teaching from multiple presentations. Okay, so I just showed you 3 to 4, depending on how you want to combo it, possibly 5 or 6 different 3 deep, 5 under scenarios where we can present different pictures, different leverage pieces, leverage components. Bigger deal is with those leverage components, we can protect our quarters toolbox, middle of the field open toolbox, right? Because all these protection pieces should come off your base. So to me, I think of it the same way. When we were an offensive team, we were always trying to get after the other team's 5 technique. All right, and we weren't always good enough to base block or handle him or reach him. So how are we doing that all the time? Same as theories. All right, so giving him things that he can spill, and if he's a spiller off the same schemes, giving bash or read theories where now off of his spill the ball can get outside. Right, so presenting same as, it's power, you're blocking it the same up front, we're just giving it different action behind. Maybe we toss read it one time, maybe we jet sweep it one time. Maybe we've got GT counter and we can bash read it, or we can regular read it as triple option and the quarterback can be the outside component. So for us, it's same as on offense. All right, think about the passing game when you're using motion or formations or bunch alignments or whatever you're doing. Let's move guys around to get them into different positions that looks different to the defense, but then it's still this route concept, right? Things you see in the NFL all the time, moving your best player around. The Chiefs do it with Kelsey, and the Rams used to do it with Cooper Kupp, and who's your best guy? Move him around and get him where you want him. Change the presentation, change the picture, but the play still ends up being this, right? I think that's the biggest thing as a coach is there's so many things you want to do, there's so many theories that you want to get to, but the bottom line is you only have so much time, all right? You can only teach it as well as you and your staff can teach it and your kids can learn it. So at some point, there's got to be some carryover, some same as. So when we go to middle of the field close, this is a big protection piece for us to our base defense. But remember, it's just a protection piece. So when people say, oh, do you really spot drop cover 3? Yes, we do. Do you really drop 8 and cover 3? Yes, we do. All right. Why don't you play match concepts? Or what? Well, because I don't think we can get it all done. I don't think it makes sense for us. This is a protection piece that is used this percentage as opposed to our base percentage. So if I'm only going to use it this amount of time and we can only spend this amount of time on it, all right, let's be multiple in the presentation. Let's keep the components the same. So the flooded components of a flat player, curl player, hook player with a hook curl, curl flat backside. All right, and now let's just change the pieces. And I feel like we can be more multiple changing that. And that's the next thing people say all the time is, well, if you really don't have enough time to teach match theories and everything else, how do you have enough time to teach all those rotations? Well, the key to me is the under components are the same. There's a flat curl hook player to the passing strength. There's a curl flat hook curl player to the other side. Now all we got to do is teach them the buzzwords of who's rotating where. And then if you noticed, for me, all right, in 4 of the presentations, the Sam, the Mike, and the Will all had the same job. It was the safeties, corners that were kind of changing. So I kept the Sam, Mike, and Will the same. The only time I changed is when I bumped the Sam outside to play the buzz or ice concept. That was the only change I made for the Sam. So really, in essence, the Sam, the Mike, and the Will, when we go to 3 deep, in most of our base rotations, so double safety rotation, double cloud rotation, combination rotation. When we do that, the Sam, the Mike, and the Will have the same drop. So the linebackers don't even get anything different when we go to cover 3 in our cover 3. It's just what we're doing with the safeties. All right, so we're presenting multiple pictures, but playing the same underneath concepts, the same 3 deep concepts behind it. All right, the same midpoint deals to 2 receivers, the same the same 3 deep depending on who's rotating, and we do it that way because it provides different presentation, multiple looks, multiple rotations, but we're playing the same thing. So hopefully this helps you guys out if you're a 3-high team or if you're a split field team. I love the 3 safety system because I think it gives us the chance to do that. Very hard for us to do it. When we were a 4-2-5 team, we couldn't always, we could still double rotate safeties. It wasn't as simple as this. We weren't a drop 8 team because we were 4 down and we didn't drop D linemen. I love tight, odd, three high for a lot of reasons, and this is one of the reasons when I want to change, close the middle of the field, when I want to provide a different look, when I want to protect my quarters toolbox. I think that I've got a lot of very simple answers at my disposal to do so. So again, just the way I do it, how we teach it, why we teach it. I think it's always important to understand the why of what you're doing. This time of year, especially when you get into drawing things up and going, oh, this looks really cool, this looks really cool, how would you defend that, how would you handle that? I think all that stuff is great, but why are you doing it? What's the reasoning behind it? For me, the why right here, we've got to close the middle of the field. We have to give the illusion of the middle safety possibly being a middle of the field defender. Otherwise, in our three high stuff, they're always going to attack us with middle of the field open, split field principles because they know that the middle safety is never there. So there's a reason why we do it that way. I know the reason why. I live by the reason why. Okay, and there's going to be people that disagree or do it a different way, and that's why football is beautiful and coaching is beautiful. All right, so if you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button. Turn your notifications on so you know every time we put out a video or we do YouTube Live. I think either tonight or tomorrow, depending on my schedule, I'm going to hop on a YouTube Live and answer some questions, talk about some things that are going on this time of year with our program and Play Fast Football. So make sure those notifications are on. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you like or don't like the topic, the presentation, the channel. Interaction is great. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, positive or negative. As always, leave a comment. Any comments I see, I try to respond to. If it's a question, I try to answer it. If it's a comment about a video and I can do it justice, I will try to do that video. So I hope your off season's going well. If you're a little bit under the weather like I am right now, hopefully you get healthy and recover and you can get back to all the things that you want to do, clinics and off-season lifts and 7-on-7. Great time of year, great time to get better, great time to work with your program. So make sure, or hopefully everybody is out there doing those things and things are going well on your end. Thanks for what you do for me and Play Fast Football. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast. I will see you next time.